Hello, everybody. The Knicks drop, a game. I don't really know how it feels like to lose anymore. I had this kind of feeling. I don't really know how to lose anymore, like what it feels like to lose anymore. But the Knicks do drop a game to the Los Angeles Lakers. Um, my first pregame thought was pack the paint. This Lakers team is historically bad from the 3 point line. I don't know if it's historically, but I just feel like there's awful from the 3 point line, and they don't have really good personnel at all. So it's not like they have respectable guys, but you're not gonna. They have respectable guys, but they ain't shooting well this season. Nah, they have no one you can respect. So I would say pack the paint, and that's what the Knicks did tonight. Um, who's guarding Brunson? No Vanderbilt, no Cam Reddish. Torian Prince took that matchup. Shout out him. He took that matchup. He also didn't take it alone, of course. We'll talk about that later, but he didn't take it alone. But he did take on the matchup. So Torian Prince, you can take that badge. You took on the Brunson matchup. But if Brunson has Austin Reeves, which I think they started Brunson on Austin Reeves, I would say move the heck out of the way. ISO, let's do it. He should have said. Get out the way. We're moving it. We're doing it. Uh, the Lakers like to draw fouls, and I'm not saying this is like a funny thing, like it's a joke. Oh, the Lakers bail out and the refs love the Lakers. No, because they drive so much. Yes, there's some calls in the Raptors game, but like they are such a good team when it comes to just getting in the paint. I mean, it starts with LeBron, his ability to get in the paint. AD. I mean, even they have players like Austin Reeves who are good at getting in the paint. Like, um, they have good players when it comes to getting in the paint. D'Lo can get in the paint and draw some fouls. Like, they have players who can get in the paint and draw fouls all around the board. I think that's a skill that Brunson has, that all these players have. Um, it's just marginally better when you're a star like they are. Not D'Angelo Russell, not Austin Reeves, but they're good at getting in the paint. Um, can't let Reeves get going. That was my things, and he didn't get going. Like he had some plays where he did a pick and pop with LeBron, he got a three, but I didn't feel like he was getting going. Like he didn't really go off. I want to check it because it didn't feel like he went off, but he might have had like 20 something, but it didn't feel like he went off. Um, it didn't feel like it. He probably had like 25 or something, but it didn't. Damn, my thing ain't loaded. My thing ain't loaded, which isn't good. Shout out the internet, man. Uh, yeah, it's not loading, but I feel like Austin. I'm gonna search it up here, but I feel like Austin Reeves had like 20 something this game. He had 22. 22 shots, 6 for 13, 3 for 6 from 3. Had a pretty good game, but it wasn't like very loud. It didn't really. I thought Austin Reeves can have those loud games. It's him, Cam Thomas. That's why I talked about they're both two players who can just go off whenever they feel like it. Like there's games where they can just have 40. Like they can really go off. Not 40 for Austin Reeves, but like he could have a big time game. But today wasn't really a big time game for him. Yes, he shot good from the field at 22, but it didn't really feel that big. Make LeBron work defensively, and he did a very good job defensively on Brunson on that one play. But he's again like age. We talk about his age. You got to make him work defensively because he's a very good offensive player. You got to make him work defensively. And I don't really see the Knicks doing that, which they should have done. But again, LeBron shouted him. He played good defense late stretch, as did everyone in the Lakers. They put us on a freaking they put it on locks. But don't overdrive towards AD, which the Knicks did. I feel like the only one who was getting who was actually figuring out AD was Brunson. Even though he didn't, but like he had some floaters over AD that were very good. Um, Rui was starting in place of Prince, and I like that. Just have more size. I think that was the Lakers' decision, just to have more size when you're guarding Jalen Brunson. I think that was the thing there, and they put in Torian Prince. Hindsight is they bring in Torian Prince to close the game, but they wanted more size on Jalen, which Rui didn't work. But I like the thought process, and Torian Prince is great off the bench. He's a veteran. That doesn't really matter to me. All he wants to do is win. So it's not something that he will go and cry about that he's off the bench. He's not that type of player. He's gonna go in there. He's a vet. He's gonna come off the bench, hit some threes. His role is not really gonna change if he's on the bench or starting. He's not one of those players. Reeves is guarding Brunson to start the game. That is easy picking for Brunson. That's what he did for the start of the game. He's got Reeves. I mean, it was just Post up, post up, post up. I know it's 6'2" guard. I'm talking about posting up. That's what he did. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. He went to the post, got him on his moves, and it was great. It was great to see. Um, JB going at Reeves, as I said. I mean, that was one of the things at the top of the thing I said. Is that if JB is getting guarded by Reeves, you just get out the way. You just get out the way and let him cook. And there's a reason why Reeves is on the floor. He might be so bad defensively, but there's a reason he's still on the floor because he's just very good offensive player. So I don't want to say that to Austin, but he's a very good offensive player, and at least he tried defensively. And there's a lot worse players like Trey Young are worse defensively than him. Like he's not like the worst, but I feel like he can definitely get picked on defensively. But there's a reason he's on the floor still because he's just such a good offensive player that he just goes on the floor. Um, if AD's gonna try to do a fadeaway by being guarded by Hart, I'll take it. Like Hart switched on AD one play, and I watched. I'm like, whoa! Like AD's taking a fadeaway. Like any other center, I think would just boast him up. But I guess Hart's being physical was one of the things somebody told me was, yeah, Hart's being physical. But I don't think that he was being that physical from just bail out a fadeaway jumper. And AD did a lot of that where he just fades away for some reason where he could just go at a player. That's one of his blemishes that I think he has. Just he could be just bullying somebody in the paint, and it's not something he wants to do. But he's such a good defensive player where you can just, hey, whatever. And he's such a good rebounder and everything like that. So you can be like, yeah, it's good. We'll take it. But AD was changing every single shot. I mean, I've never seen Brunson just be like so like I don't scared is a bad word for this one because I don't really think he was scared of another man. I don't think that, but I think he was just like it changed it. It changed it. It changed his mind, and he thought that I would rather kick it out to DiVincenzo in the corner, Hart in the corner, wide open, than try to go up on somebody like an AD. I would take my chances there with a Hart three or Devo three, or a Precious three or someone else just shooting that three for the Knicks than than going up on AD because that's just a chore. And he might most likely will probably finish, but it's just like, hey, I don't want to do all that. Like he might block my shot, and he doesn't want to do all that. But Jalen was so calm when two defenders were on him in that first half. He still was, but he was just so calm. He's finding the open man, especially Devo. I mean, they didn't really know how to double him in that first half. They're just leaving Devo wide. They're just doubling. The reason is they doubled with no head. Like they had zero head. Like they didn't have any brain cells when they were doubling him in the first half. That's why it was so successful of the double team because they were just double teaming out of nowhere. Like they didn't care who they were double. They just put a double on Brunson. They just weren't thinking. They weren't thinking that they were doubling off of DiVincenzo. They weren't thinking that they were doubling off of other than DiVincenzo. I got nothing. But they weren't being strategic about the double team. They weren't doubling off of Josh or doubling off of Chua instead of doubling off of DiVincenzo. They're just doubling the double, and that's just not what you want to do. Like you don't just want to double the double. Like it's not something they would double off of McBride. Like those are the type of players you don't want to double off of. Like McBride, like, you don't double off of McBride when you could double off of Josh. Like they just need to use their brain more in the first half. That's why JV just picked him apart because he's gonna be like so okay. I'm just gonna give the ball to DiVincenzo. I'm just gonna give him the ball. You know what? Screw it. He's gonna take that three because he trusts DiVincenzo more than he trusted Josh Hart. Like they were just not. They had no brain when it came to doubling. They just doubled the double. But that's why he was just so calm. He was just collected because he trusted DiVincenzo, which I think any point guard would trust DiVincenzo shooting the ball. Um, Lakers. So my last note, which I think is a whole big thing, is the Lakers were forcing Hart to make shots. Um, that is something that you really can't have happen. But again, I would be the guy who would be like, okay, take him off the floor. But who are you taking off the floor for? Who are you taking off the floor? Who are you putting in the game? Flynn? Like, you cannot put him in. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing. There's nothing. Unless you somehow get OG and Randle in the game. I don't know how. Tom Thibodeau pulls off a magic trick and gets Julius Randle off of his gets Julius Randle off the bench and gets Quentin Grimes somehow off the bench and just pulls a magic trick that I don't know who you're putting in the game. I don't know. Because that was just my thing. I'm like, okay, yo, like you're mad at Tom Thibodeau, but why? Like who else would you put in the game? That's my question. I understand you'd be like, oh, take Josh Hart out of the game. It's smart. You're thinking logically here, but you gotta think even more logically and be like, who really is he putting in the game? I think that was a problem tonight. I don't even think he would get to the point where Josh Hart would be closing out games. I don't think he ever will ever again because the tape is out. The tape is out, and I don't think teams want to double off of OG. Maybe teams want to double off Quentin Grimes, but I just feel more confident with him off the dribble or taking a 3-point shot. So what do you do? Like, is Josh Hart a closer anymore? I don't think so. I don't think so. And my other big thing is that was Leon Rose waiting? My question is, was Leon Rose waiting for a loss to make a deal? Because I feel like he had a deal, but he's just waiting to lose. And that might be a very negative thing. That's not what he was not rooting for us to. He's not rooting for the Knicks to lose. He was just like, "Hey, I have a deal. I'm gonna wait for the Knicks to lose for my deal to be made because hey, if we start winning and we're on a 9-game winning streak, and I get Malcolm Brogdon and I bring out Evan Fournier in first, like why are you changing that up? Probably makes it sound better when you lose a game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we woke up in the morning and Malcolm Brogdon was a Knick because the Knicks usually don't make like the biggest thing is Leon Rose doesn't usually make trades like while everyone else is trading, like not at the trade deadline, but like a few hours before. Like Leon Rose makes trades. Like he made a trade for Josh Hart a night before the trade deadline. Like I think it's February 9th. So he made a trade on February 8th at night. Like for Josh Hart, a last trade deadline. Like he makes those type of moves where he won't make it at the trade. He won't make it while everyone else is trading, but he'll make it. So that's one of my things. Like you want to get Malcolm Brogdon in the room as quickly as possible. You don't really need to think about who's going to be there, who's going to be back. No, you just try to get him in the room as quick as possible. Um, and I think that's Leon Rose's mentality. You got to get in the room as quick as possible. And I think you had to get Josh Hart in the room as quick as possible when you were in that other season, last season. I think you tried to get Josh Hart in the room as quick as possible. Like those are the type of players you get in the room as quick as possible. And that's what the Knicks are going to try to do with somebody like a Malcolm Brogdon. That's why I'm not an insider. Why am I talking about like an insider? I'm not an insider, but I just feel like somebody like a Malcolm Brogdon was really needed tonight. And maybe, maybe even if we had Malcolm Brogdon, we wouldn't have won this game. But it would have helped that Brunson would have sat more than 4 minutes. That's one of my takeaways of this game. Brunson only sat 4 minutes in this basketball game. That's ridiculous. It's not. Sometimes I'd be yelling at Tom Thibodeau, but I'm not because like I said with the Josh Hart thing. Who are you putting in? Like who are you? The man is literally creating our offense. Like he's literally being the one who's getting doubled and being able to make the offense make plays. Like what do you do? Like what else do you do? Like do you bring in like Malachi? You don't because Brunson's literally your offense right now, and it was. I don't know if Malcolm Brogdon would spell him that much, but I would think more than 4 minutes. I think Thibodeau would trust him to sit for more than 4 minutes. It's just that thing in the back of my mind. It's like, do you trust Brunson to sit more than 4 minutes? That was a no. And I will. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it at all. I would have sat him more, but I'm not. I'm just not mad at it. Like if I was the coach, which I'm not a coach at all. That's why I'm not a coach. But I would sit him more. I'd obviously some more. I'd take him out, like maybe 6 minutes left in the third. Try to sneak him in more minutes of rest. But again, I'm not yelling at Thibs for that. I understand it. Like we need him out there. But what I would do personally was take him out. But that's I don't have a job. That's why I don't have a job in coaching. That's it's a thing like if Thibs I was yelling at Thibs a lot last season for the minutes. Like that's the type time where you just cannot take him out. And in Thibs' mind, you cannot take him out. I think you could have, but like, I respect it. I respect that you can't take him out. I respect it 100%. I 100% agree. And I would agree to anyway. If he took him out, sneaked like 4 minutes of rest, like if he sneaked him 8 minutes of rest the whole entire game, I'd agree with that too. And I also agree with that of just playing him as much minutes as possible. I agree with that as well. So I'm not going to yell at Thibs today for that. I don't think he did any bad job. I don't know what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to inject Josh Hart, like make him shoot better. Like I don't know what he can do. At some point, you just cannot do anything as a coach. At some point, you're not playing the game. Like at some point, as a coach, you're just not playing the game. Yes, Tibbs is not perfect, but at some point, you're not playing the game. At some that's what I say about Doc Rivers. At some point, you cannot control James Harden sneaking out in a playoff game. Like at some point, you can't control Ben Simmons having a mental breakdown in a game 7. You cannot control that. Like that, those are the type of things with coaches. At the end of the day, you cannot control it. You cannot play the game. Like that's you need to step back, man. I can't play the game. If Josh Hart's gonna be left open, he can't make a shot. I cannot inject him at all. I cannot tell him to shoot. I cannot tell him to I cannot fix a shot. I cannot play. I cannot sub in for Josh Hart. Thibodeau can definitely not sub in for Josh Hart. But it's at that point you're like, I can't do anything else. I can't play. I cannot. I'm just coach. That's sometimes at the end of that's sometimes it. And that was the time kind of night for Tom Thibodeau. And he did everything right. I mean, he didn't do everything right. Like that's he's not perfect, but he didn't do anything wrong, and that's great. I mean, Darvin Ham isn't perfect either, but he didn't do anything wrong tonight, like that, and that's why they got the W. And hey, that's all I gotta say about this game. I went on a long rant about that, but you know, hey, it's what happens, man. You just have a coach that can't really play. Coaches can't play. Like coach can't play. That's what it comes down to. But yeah, that's gonna do it. Have a nice day, and let's go Knicks. And turn on post notifications. Also subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you're on Spotify, auto download function, and also follow the Spotify. I guess I think that's what you can do. And make sure so you don't miss a Spotify episode. If you like audio and you like driving your car, listen to podcast or you just like watching your phone. And I like watching my phone too. So if you like watching YouTube, if you take it easier on YouTube, then if you want to see the stats here, you can go watch it on YouTube and you can go subscribe. So either way, you can keep track of the videos I post. Peace, have a nice day, and let's go Knicks.